Welcome to the Illinois Secure Choice Plan, Options for Small Businesses to Remain Compliant webinar. My name is Grant Bramley, and I'm the Vice President of Tandem HR. Here with me today is Trae Marchant, Market Development Specialist with Ameritas. Before we begin our presentation, I wanted to address a couple of quick items. We've muted the audience, but if there are any questions that arise, please submit them in the questions section. At the end of the presentation, we will leave some time for Q&A, and if we run out of time, we'll be sure that all questions are answered by reaching out to you directly. A recording of this presentation will also be set to all registrants. Thank you for joining, and let's begin. Trae, welcome. Excited to have you on this webinar, and look forward to learning, obviously, much more about the Illinois Secure Choice Plan.
Absolutely, Grant. Thanks for introducing me. It's a pleasure to be here. So Abby, if we can, let's just jump to the next slide and we'll start. So briefly, just have to get the legalese out of the way and make the lawyers happy. Any entities that you do see in this presentation are not affiliates of Ameritas or any of our other affiliates. So just got to get that out of the way, make the lawyers happy, and we can move on to the main presentation now. So we'll jump into the About Ameritas slide. Ameritas is a provider of insurance, financial services, and retirement plans and employee benefits for over 130 years. We are A+ rated with Standard & Poor's. We have approximately $15.3 billion in assets under administration with more than 8,500 participants and nearly 270,000 participants, nearly 8,500 retirement plans. We have a state-of-the-art technical platform and dedicated customer service. And we also have nearly $2.5 billion in pooled employer plan arrangements. So we'll talk a little bit more in a little while about Ameritas and what we do in regard to the Tandem HR plan, but just wanted to give you that brief overview. And I believe Grant is going to introduce us to Tandem briefly.
Sure, thanks, Trae. So Tandem HR is a national professional employer organization, often referred to as PEO. What we do is provide an offering of services specifically around HR administration, risk and compliance, employee-based hiring technology, and a number of other areas that are specific to human resources. Our target customer base, or the primary users, typically are businesses on average that have between 5 and call it 250 to 500 employees, sometimes slightly larger. We're the largest privately held PEO in the Midwest. And importantly, in the market today, we are both IRS accredited, which means a certified PEO, and we have an ESAC accreditation as well. So looking forward to obviously sharing additional information if valuable, but I think we can go to the next slide, Trae, and handing it back to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Grant. Thanks for that introduction. So let's just start by discussing why retirement plans are important. As you can see on the slide, in the Did You Know box, a study conducted by CNBC in 2020 noted that roughly 55 million American workers did not have access to retirement savings at work. This is a large gap. That means that many of them are left to rely only in retirement on Social Security earnings. I think we know the state of that. Additionally, those earnings can be very low, not provide for a comfortable retirement. So a 401k plan can also serve as supplement to those earnings. Additionally, a 401k plan can be an important part of a comprehensive benefits package that shows investment in your employees' well-being. In a competitive job market, employees may be looking at more than just the salary, although the salary is very important. However, a 401k plan can serve to round out and complete your benefits offering. Additionally, there are tax savings that can be provided by making employer contributions to the plan, and the plan can also be crafted to maximize the owner's savings for themselves with tax-free growth to all plan participants. And lastly, for certain startup adopters, there's a tax credit that can be received if the business pays certain qualifying expenses related to the plan, possibly reducing the employer's tax liability dollar for dollar to a specified limit. To get more information on that, we would recommend that you do check with your tax advisor to get information on the qualifying expenses. So let's jump in and look at Illinois Secure Choice and an overview of what it is. On the next slide. So Illinois Secure Choice was started in 2018 with a staged rollout that depended on the size of the workforce and is a state-mandated retirement savings program. Unlike the Tandem plan, where your contributions will be going into a 401k, the contributions go into an individual retirement account, and they are made on a Roth after-tax basis. In a little bit, I'm going to go into some differences between the 401k and the Roth IRA and why those are significant. Additionally, this applies to organizations that have been in business for at least 2 years, employ 5 or more people in each calendar quarter of the previous year, and have not sponsored a qualified retirement plan in the previous 2 years. Now, that employee count is determined based off of the number of W-2 paid employees you have. And that is going to include full-time employees, part-time and seasonal employees, as well as business owners who qualify as employees. All of these folks being over the age of 18 and who have been with your organization for at least 60 days. So what do you need to do to become compliant with the mandate? Well, the employer must sponsor a qualified retirement plan or enroll employees in the Illinois Secure Choice Plan. So what is a qualified retirement plan? Well, today for our purposes, we're going to be focused on the Tandem HR plan, which is a 401k plan and is a qualified plan. A few other examples would be a profit sharing only plan, certain pension plans, or a 403b plan if you are eligible to sponsor. So let's take a look at some of the deadlines and then penalties that can arise from not being compliant. So as you will see, as I mentioned earlier, this started in 2018 with staged rollout depending on the size of your workforce. The last stage of this relates to employers with 5 to 15 employees. You must have a plan in place by November 1st of 2023, or you could face the penalties listed below. For the first year of noncompliance, that could be up to $250 per eligible employee, and all subsequent years that rises to $500 per eligible employee. So you will see that if you are outside of the 5 to 15 employee range, if you have more employees than that, you should already be either participating in the Illinois Secure Choice or have a qualified plan in place so that you are in compliance. So that's a brief overview of the Illinois Secure Choice, what it is, and the deadlines and penalties related to the Illinois Secure Choice plan. So now what I'd like to do is talk about the type of plan that Tandem is. So we'll move to the next slide and we'll talk about what is a pooled employer plan. Well, a pooled employer plan is an arrangement whereby the assets of many unrelated employers are grouped together at a plan level, so at a high level, but are record kept separately by individual business and down to that individual business's employees. The pooling of these assets is where you as an employer can derive significant purchasing power as well as economies of scale that gives your participants to lower cost retirement solutions, higher quality investments with lower expense ratios. Now, one thing I want to reiterate is that this does not mean that you lose your individuality as a business owner. Your balances are still tracked individually for the purposes of your business and down to your participant level. So you only see your portion of the plan. For purposes of the plan, you will be known as an adopting employer, and your employees who are eligible will be known as participants. So moving on, what do pooled employer plans deliver to businesses? So some of the main benefits that Tandem plans going to deliver to you is that retirement plans can require significant time input from businesses' employees designated to handle related retirement plan tasks. And additionally, the retirement plan must remain compliant with relevant laws and regulations and all changes to those laws and regulations, while also carrying significant fiduciary liability. In the Tandem HR 401k plan, these activities and fiduciary liability concerns are completely taken off your plate. As previously mentioned, pool plans will bring economies of scale and pricing to you and your participants. And you have a team of highly skilled experts that work with the plan to alleviate the concerns for you and remove close to 100% of your normal retirement plan duties. With that being said, let's meet those experts now. So first and foremost is Tandem. Grant gave you a brief introduction to Tandem earlier, but their role in the 401k is that they are a pool plan provider and the ultimate fiduciary, ultimately known as the plan sponsor. This is also referred to in Section 316 of the Internal Revenue Code as the ultimate fiduciary on the plan. They're responsible for oversight of all providers to ensure appropriate level of service is being provided at a reasonable cost and the best experience possible for adopting employers and their participants. So again, just think of them as the ultimate fiduciary. When it comes to the services provided to the plan, the buck stops with them. Additionally, we have BKS retirement services. Tandem has selected them to manage the investments in the plan. They are the ultimate investment fiduciary. They're responsible for the investment menu and monitoring that investment menu. They are also available for participant level investment advice, should you need it. And then you get to my firm, Ameritas Blue Star. We are what's known as the third-party administrator and record keeper on the plan. In our role as a third-party administrator, just think compliance. Each year, there's required compliance testing the plan must go through, and we perform that on behalf of Tandem and all of its adopters. We also assist with the annual filing of the Form 5500. That is done at the plan level, and something that you will not have to worry about on your own if you participate in the plan. We help prepare that and file that along with Tandem. Additionally, the plan goes through an audit every year, and that audit report is attached to that 5500. So we assist with all of the audit work that goes on as well. So you will never have to worry or concern yourself with an audit, and you will not have to engage with the auditors yourself. So when you think about TPA, think compliance. The second role and the record keeping role, what we do is we do all the back end record keeping as well as providing a sponsor and employee website and mobile app. Now, with the record keeping, we make sure that your contributions to your account get invested according to your investment elections. We make sure that the right amount of money that you've chosen to come out of your paycheck goes into your account. So just think back end record keeping and ensuring that all of the accounting is done correctly down to the participant level. Lastly, we have the custodian, who is Charles Schwab. This is where all the assets of the plan are held. So this is where when you send your money in to your account, it will be custodied at Charles Schwab. So if you request a distribution from your account, you'll likely get a 1099, or you will get a 1099, from Charles Schwab. So those are the four main players on the plan who provide services to the plan. So let's move on and talk about the relief you get with the plan. So when you sponsor your own retirement plan, there's a tremendous amount of work and oversight from the employer's perspective, along with that high level of fiduciary liability. With the Tandem plan, that's largely eliminated, and your responsibilities are greatly reduced. For instance, if you sponsor your own plan, you can have upwards of 50 tasks you can be responsible for as it relates to the 401k. A few major tasks would be monitoring your employees' eligibility, ensuring timely delivery of any required notices. We take care of that, along with Tandem. Maintaining the appropriate level of fiduciary insurance, as well as ERISA bond insurance. You won't have to have that on the Tandem plan, as Tandem takes care of that at the plan level. Maintaining your plan document, ensuring it is up to date for all regulatory required amendments and legislation. Again, in conjunction with us, that is taken care of at the plan level. Ensuring required minimum distributions for certain active and retired participants are calculated correctly, distributed timely. Again, taken care of. And lastly, a major component here is hiring an auditor. If your plan has 100 or more eligible employees, you may need to hire an independent auditor to audit your plan. Plan audits can cost upward of $15,000 sometimes for a single employer. In the Tandem plan, the audit is done at the overall plan level, and you are not required to monitor or engage the auditor or even interact with them during the audit. It also greatly reduces the overall cost of the audit. So those are just a handful of the main administrative tasks that are taken off your plate when you join the Tandem HR plan. So we'll move on to the next slide. So again, just to reiterate, the Tandem plan is a streamlined, turnkey retirement solution that is easy to adopt and start participating in, that allows you to maintain autonomy over your plan design. So what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is that allows you to be your own business. You can choose your own eligibility provisions. You can choose whether you want to do a match or not. You can choose if you want to make profit sharing or not. You can choose your own vesting schedule. Even though you are part of a larger plan, you still retain your autonomy as a business owner, and you can design this to achieve your specific goals for your organization. The plan also ensures compliance, in addition to providing fiduciary liability relief, taking administrative burdens off of your plate. And again, we do provide excellent technical service in addition to providing the employer and participant websites, which we'll talk to in just a minute. So we'll move into that slide now. You know, we've been in the pooled employer plan or multiple employer plan market for 20 years now. It's largely what we concentrate on. So our whole website is geared towards multiple employer plan and pooled employer plan arrangements because we know what it takes to administer these properly, and we know what you and your participants are looking for. So we have a highly engaging, easy to navigate website that has a tremendous amount of online educational tools with many options for asset allocation and portfolio tools, as well as a fully transactional mobile app.
Right, I'm curious, obviously we're in a very information consuming environment, especially when it comes to things like these. How is this a differentiator for your product amongst other 401k TPAs or administrators that may be out there?
Sure, and I have a few thoughts on that. But so where I'll start with is there's a large push in the industry to make sure that participants are informed, that they are aware of their retirement readiness. The way that we go about breaking out data on our website empowers you as the employer to understand your workforce's readiness and participation rates, which in turn help you provide a robust and fruitful retirement option for your employees. So our data analysis and the way we use that really empowers you as an employer. Secondly, on our employer website, we have a really unique function. It's called the engagement engine. And this will allow you as the employer to target groups of employees who may not be taking advantage of your retirement solution with email campaigns containing educational PDFs as well as videos that will encourage them to take advantage of the offering. It's a very, very unique tool that is not offered among any other providers that I am aware of. Now, from the participant standpoint, a couple things I would point out is we have a proprietary tool called Guide Me, which helps participants choose their investment options. We know that choosing investment options can be intimidating. That tool is it can help relieve the consternation by walking participants through a simple questionnaire type process that ultimately ends with an investment portfolio recommendation based on their inputs. We try to make it easy and non-intimidating. And then lastly, one of the things that makes us truly unique and one of the things that we are really proud of is our mobile app. You're not going to find many mobile apps that are fully transactional. Our mobile app is fully transactional and it mirrors our participant portal. Participants can enroll, pick their investments, set their contribution rates, and even select their beneficiaries, all from their mobile device. So in addition to this, we also have some demo websites, as well as the ability to download the demo app. And I think what we'll do with that is we will distribute those website addresses in a follow-up email after we finish the presentation. So we'd like for you all to check out those at your convenience, because we really think those set us apart from the rest of the industry.
Great.
So I think what we'll move to now is just an overview of looking at the two different retirement solutions and the related options. So as you can see, the sponsor of the Tandem HR 401k plan is Tandem HR. Illinois Secure Choice is sponsored by the Illinois Secure Choice Savings Board, which is appointed by the Illinois Secure Choice Act. Then the types of employers. So the Tandem plan is going to be open to all Tandem HR payroll clients. So with Illinois Secure Choice, that's going to be any company not sponsoring a retirement plan with more than 5 employees and who has been in business for at least 2 years. So as far as the effective date goes, in the Tandem plan, this is chosen by the adopting employer. You'll have an onboarding call when you come on, and that will be held with one of our plan design consultants and one of our implementation specialists. That's where you'll select the provisions you want for your plan and learn about how the plan gets set up. Typically, you're going to be looking at first contributions into the plan approximately 30 to 45 days after that particular conversation happens. Again, yeah.
I'm sorry, could I jump in with another question? So
sure.
We sometimes have clients that come on board and they want to do some more diligence around if they have a 401k plan, comparing that to the Tandem one. how does that affect their ability to transition to the Tandem 401k if it's not necessarily at the time that they become a customer or when they're considering?
So are you referring to people who may already have a plan? I'm sorry.
Sure. Or they're just not quite ready. Is there
Yeah. So think about this. It's the opposite from like healthcare insurance, right? With healthcare insurance, you often have like an open enrollment window. With the Tandem 401k plan, there's no open enrollment window. You can adopt this at any point, whatever works for you. Obviously, if we're looking at this in comparison to the Illinois Secure Choice Act, we need to be mindful of your deadlines. But yes, you can adopt this at any point. And additionally, your employees can choose to participate at their will. So that's one of the great things about this. No open enrollment window. You can adopt when it's right for you to do so.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, the Illinois Secure Choice Act was a staged rollout, as we talked about earlier, with the final deadline for those employers with 5 to 15 employees being November 1st of this year. So we'll move on to the next slide. So let's look at the differences between the type of plan. So again, we are that pooled employer plan, but we are actually in all reality a 401k. The Illinois Secure Choice is an individual retirement account. So for instance, the contribution limits. You'll notice that in 2023, you can put up to $22,500 into your 401k. The Roth IRA or the IRA limit is $6,500. Now, if you are 50 or older, you can also do catch-up contributions. In the 401k, those can be up to $7,500. In the Roth, they're limited to $1,000. So, upwards of $30,000 in total contributions possibly on your own to the 401k, and then $7,500 total in the IRA. So quite the large difference in ability to save between the two. Is one of the major differences that you have here. The 401k really allows you to put more away, has more horsepower from a savings perspective. We'll move to the next comparison slide. So as we talked about earlier, the Illinois Secure Choice is Roth after tax only. So what does that mean? Well, it's basically what it sounds like. The deduction from your paycheck, you pay the tax on that now, and it goes into your IRA. And then, later on in life when you retire, so long as it's a qualified Roth distribution, the earnings and principal are both tax-free. So you only have that Roth option in the Illinois Secure Choice Act. In the 401k, you can also do what's known as a pre-tax employee contribution. And the way that works is you essentially take a tax deduction now, and then later on in life when you retire, you pay the income tax on any distributions and earnings at that point. So in the 401k, you can do Roth or pre-tax, or you could do some combination of both up to that $22,500. So you have more choices there from the 401k standpoint for contributions for employees. Automatic enrollment. The Illinois Secure Choice Act is a required 5% automatic enrollment, which you, the employer, are required to make sure occurs, and you're also required to monitor. In addition, there's a 1% annual automatic escalation up to 10%. So for those people who don't opt out, for your employees who don't opt out, you need to make sure also that 1% escalation is happening every year. Right now, in the 401k plan, automatic enrollment is optional. With the passage of Secure Act 2.0, that is going to be changing, I believe, at the start of 2025. But that's down the road, so not much to discuss there at this point. But just know right now that automatic enrollment in the 401k at this point is optional, whereas it is mandatory in the Illinois Secure Choice. From a distribution perspective, in the 401k, you can have loans from your 401k. Those are typically paid back by participants to themselves through payroll deductions. Typically, the maximum payback period on that's going to be 5 years, and you pay yourself back at the prime interest rate, typically plus 1% through payroll deduction. There are a couple types of other distributions available as far as in-service distributions once you're 59 and a half. So if you're 59 and a half or older, you're able to take full distributions from fully vested account balances at that point. So a lot of times you will see individuals who are nearing retirement that want to roll a large portion of their 401k to an IRA to start planning for retirement. If you're 59 and a half, you can do that. And then there's a hardship distribution provision. I won't get too deep into that. Just know that's there for emergencies, meant to be used in the case of a worst case scenario. So a few distribution types that are available to you. Really, the only thing that's going to be available to you in the Illinois Secure Choice Act would be qualified Roth distributions, and then any other distributions you take could possibly be subject to penalties. All right. So as far as the plan design goes, I touched on this a little bit earlier, but again, in the 401k plan, you're going to have much more latitude over your individual plan design. You'll be able to design it to meet your business's needs and what you as the owner are looking to put in place. In the Illinois Secure Choice, it's that 5% with the 1% escalation. You just have to go with that. So from the investment standpoint, this is another place where you're really going to see some differentiation. Again, in the Tandem plan, that is managed by BKS Partners, who is the investment fiduciary and responsible for making sure those investments perform correctly. In the Tandem plan, including the target date suites, you're going to have upwards of 35 investment options to choose from, typically mutual funds. Those are going to typically have an expense ratio of about 37 basis points. So think of that as a percentage of 1%. You're looking at 37% of 1% annually. In the Illinois Secure Choice Act, you're really only going to have about 4 investment options. There's like a capital preservation fund. There is a target date suite. I believe there's a growth fund, and then there is also a conservative fund. So you're very limited there. And from what I can tell, there's also about a 75-point basis charge on those funds. But that could be, there is information on their website about that if you want to see the differences in cost of investments. So the investment options are more limited in the Illinois Secure Choice Act, much more robust in the Tandem plan, and do offer you lower expense ratios in the Tandem plan as well. A couple other things that I wanted to point out on the IRA setup for the Illinois Choice plan is, first of all, they are also subject to income limits. So if you are single and you make $153,000 or more, you're not allowed to contribute to an IRA regardless. So you couldn't even use the Illinois Secure Choice Act. Secondly, if you are married filing jointly, the income limits are $228,000. So if you're married and you make over that amount of money, then you're not allowed to contribute to the IRA anyway. There are no income limits in the 401k to contribute. So just to reiterate a few points here, as it applies to the administrative duties, what Tandem takes off of your plate as a plan sponsor is really compelling. I mean, no Form 5500 filing for you as an individual owner. We take care of the non-discrimination testing on your behalf. The investments are picked by an outside fiduciary. Tracking contribution limits, we do that as the record keeper. Tracking catch-up contributions done by the record keeper. All these administrative tasks are taken off your plate. With the Illinois Secure Choice Act, you're still going to have to submit employee census information to the Illinois Secure Choice annually, track eligibility, provide enrollment packets to your employees, track whether they opt in or opt out, make sure they're auto-enrolled appropriately and escalated annually, and then you're going to have to track and auto-enroll employees not participating for at least 1 year. So, in addition to having the penalties that apply to not having the plan in place, there are still some significant administrative duties there for you to perform. So, to kind of wrap up the presentation here, really this is pretty straightforward. The offering is easy to administer because most of the work is done for you. It's compliant. There's no fiduciary liability for you. We are cost competitive, and you have a team of well-known experts here to support you at all times. So that was the overview that I hope to get across to everybody, and I hope you all enjoyed that. And I think now what we're going to do is I'm going to turn it back to Grant, and we're going to look at some possibly Q&A sessions, right, Grant?
Yep, that sounds great. So checking here to see what kind of questions that came up. Does our company have to offer an employer contribution is the first question.
No, the employer is not required to offer an employer contribution. This goes back to the concept of autonomy over plan design. If it does work out for you and you want to offer a matching contribution, or you want to look at maximizing your contributions as an owner through profit sharing, we can do that. And our plan consultants will help you design the plan to accommodate, your goals as a business owner.
Great. Next question looks like, if I have a balance in a 401k plan, still with a previous employer, can I roll that into this plan?
Yes, the plan does accept incoming rollovers. So if you have a balance sitting out there in another employer's 401k plan, once you've onboarded with us, you can reach out to us, and one of our participant services specialists will be more than happy to walk you through the process of that and help you get that rolled into the plan.
Excellent, thank you. Next question is there any cost to start the plan?
No, there are no upfront costs for you as the employer to join the plan. However, there are fees that are charged to the plan on a quarterly basis, and any additional information on that can be provided upon request.
Right. Thank you. Is participant level investment advice available?
Absolutely. So the plan's investment advisor, BKS, whom we spoke about earlier, that's responsible for selecting the investments in the investment menu, does also help with participant level advice. So in addition to that Guide Me app that I talked about earlier on our participant portal, you also do have the ability to contact an investment professional with BKS to help you walk through that process.
Got it. Okay. Looks like we just have one or two more quick questions here. What happens if an employee fails to make an investment elections and contribute contributions to the plan?
Sure. So, employees may forget to go in and select their investment options. In the case that happens, they are put into what is called a qualified default investment alternative. And basically what that's going to be is it's going to be one of the target date funds that matches their retirement age. So it's going to look at the participant's age and estimate when they would retire, I think based off of the normal retirement age of 65, and default them into the fund that most closely matches that. Now, they don't have to stay in that fund, and they can use our Guide Me app to help select their investments, or they can reach out to BKS, and BKS can assist with those investment options.
Okay, great. And then how often can I change my 401k savings rate?
Sure. So, again, like we talked about earlier, don't think of this like health insurance, like being open enrollment. With the savings rate, you can change this every payroll period. So if you're doing 5% one period, and you decide you want to up your contributions, the next payroll, you can change that. So long as, we can get that in place for the next payroll run. But yeah, you're able to change that every payroll period. And that can be done by either contacting our participant services line or through the website. So you can do that at any point you want through the website.
Great. And so then just to kind of put a bow on that, I'm assuming the website you've described is the best place and best source of information.
Yeah, so what I think we'll do is we have a couple websites that you can visit if you want to get more information, or if you would like to see how the websites actually look and function. We have some demo websites. It's called myplanconnection.com.
Okay.
And there's a landing page, and there will be an entry for employers and one for participants. So we'll pass out that demo information to everybody who was on the call after, and you can all visit to see what that looks like. There's also an additional marketing website that we have built for the Tandem HR plan. It's called mymepconnection.com. We'll send out that link too. That is basically going to be basically a summarization of my presentation today without the Illinois Secure Choice information that will show you all the benefits of the plan. And you can also download the investment menu there on the Learn More tab, and you can download a brochure that's about 15 pages long under the Download Our Plan tab on the Learn More tab. So we'll distribute those web addresses as well as the demo logins for you all to see after the call today. And please take a look at those. If you have any additional questions, we'll be happy to meet with you and walk through anything you need us to.
Perfect. And we've got a slide up right now that has 2 different forms of connection and communication also for participants on the call. And then I'm just going to verify, I don't think we have any more questions in the queue right now. And so if that's the case, we can obviously, Trae, unless you have any additional comments, we can wrap up.
Yeah, no, I'd just like to thank everybody for joining today. You know, this is a really unique offering that you get. And again, this takes a large amount of liability and a large amount of work off of you and your employees. So it is something that is a great advantage to you. It's a tremendous retirement solution, and it can help with retaining and attracting employees as well. So and you know, if you want to shy away from the government required plan, this is going to be probably the best option for you. So just hope everybody out there enjoyed the presentation. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to clarify anything you need us to. But thank you again for all attending, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Trae. Thank you, everyone, for joining this webinar, specifically to Illinois Secure Choice Plan and options for small businesses to remain compliant. We hope you found this webinar informative and helpful. And as a reminder, you will be receiving the email shortly with the links. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great day.
Thanks, Grant.